Joe, a big one in the Big 12 here, BYU versus Arizona State. How you see this one playing out?
Look, I said this, and I'm going to keep pushing this freaking narrative. BYU is the most boringly average team that everybody wanted to hype up to be a super competitive, worthy of being a seeded bye team in the college football playoff. That is not the case. I dug into the stats. Sure, they've got a couple of quality wins. They're middling in most categories. Inversely, Blake, and why I'm picking Arizona State in this game, Arizona State runs the ball really damn hard. Sam Leavitt's been a quality quarterback for them, but Cam Skattebo has been so good for this Arizona State team. And I do not have faith after watching some of the results produced by Kansas in their run game with Jalen Daniels and with Devin Neal. I don't think that they're going to be able to slow down Skattebo. The guy's got almost 1,500 total yards of offense on the year. He's got 11 rushing touchdowns. The dude is a bowling ball. It all comes down to what does Skattebo do in this game?
The thing with BYU, man, is we saw last week if they're not able to produce the turnovers, which they're one of the best teams in the nation at getting teams to turn over the football, that they can be things can get really bad for them offensively. Now, their time of possession, that's what they want to do. They're top 12 in time of possession. But, Joe, they cannot stay on the field on third down offensively. So when they're not producing short fields for their offense offensively, they have issues. That is the story of BYU. They cannot move the ball efficiently if a team can go and score on them a little bit. And I think that might be Arizona State here. A lot is going to be played into this because, look, if Arizona State wins out here, we're going to look at Kenny Dillingham as a potential playoff team. Skattebo is the reason that I look at this game, Joe, and I'm like, listen, man, I don't know. I don't like this matchup if I'm BYU. The only thing is, Joe, how does a BYU team that finally slipped up respond here? Like, we've seen them play bad the last couple of weeks, but, I mean, they've gone through the other parts of their Big 12 schedule, and they've been able to win. I just think that they're so bad on offense right now, Joe, in certain areas, especially on third down, that I look at BYU and it's like, listen, man, if you're going to struggle that much, teams like Arizona State is going to get you in third down, and I think that they have more athletes than you do, and it's going to show evidently in crucial parts and moments in this game.
You talked about the bounce back, and I think that's going to be like what needs to be tracked and paid attention to is like how does BYU respond to adversity? And it really sucks for them. Remove my angst against them aside for a second. It sucks for them that you're coming off of this loss and you have to go up against a team that's got one of the best rushing attacks just in general in the country. I know Skattebo's been a little banged up. I don't know what his actual health situation is because we just don't get real clarity on, where guys are actually feeling at this point in the season. But I just can't get behind BYU's offense being able to play closely enough in this game with all the turnovers that they have. Like, we saw Retzlaff have just a brutal performance with the turnovers that he had in crucial situations. Arizona State's not the type of offense to give them the ball back with a short field or to give them the ball back after they scored a touchdown and you're marching down the field and you throw an interception in the end zone. It is not the team to do that against. Their defense isn't half bad either, but they have allowed a couple of bad games that they've faced here. I just keep coming back to it. I don't know where I'm supposed to look at BYU and think this is where they win the football game.
I agree. I mean, listen, in closing out here, the only thing, Joe, is like if they don't, they're a holding call away from having 2 losses. They really are. Okay. And so
there are a lot of things away from having more losses than they do at the current moment.
Yeah, I know. And look, I think Dillingham has gotten this team up to play. Look, man, with Skattebo, you're never out of it on third down. Him catching the ball out of the backfield and running the football. They're top 30 in the country in run offense. And when you can dominate teams that way, man, I mean, you're going to be tough to beat. The only thing, though, is, Joe, Arizona State has been leaky defensively. And if this is a game that BYU's like, hey, I don't have to face the stress of, maybe this team we can move the ball on this team some, and maybe it is Arizona State. I don't know. But I look at Scatterboo, I look at Dillingham and what they're doing. I think that, again, we talked about this a lot tonight. One team I feel like is going this way, and the other team's going this way. It's an uphill, downhill trajectory. I mean, this is back-to-back weeks for BYU here. So let's see how they respond. But, Joe, I got to be real with you. I got to take Arizona State here, and I think it's going to be Arizona State, and I think it's going to be Colorado for the Big 12 title game.
And I support that. And as I said yesterday, that gets us the most competitive and entertaining game. I want to see Arizona State versus Colorado. I do not want to see BYU, who has only 14 sacks on the year and can't produce pressures, go up against Colorado and get completely blown past. I'm rooting for Arizona State. I think that they're a far more interesting team. They have got better playmakers on offense and a couple of big playmakers on defense. I'm sticking with Arizona State. I'm sticking with Cam Scatterboo.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts.